answers, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment.
Hi you guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. And you are watching Nita Reacts. Welcome. And today we are gonna be watching Black History You Didn't Learn in School, Black TikTok compilation. So, guys are interested, keep on watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Alright, let's get on into this video.
Who's next?
This was the wrong day to piss me off. I hate to break it to you, but inequality is the entire fault of white people. I don't care. White people designed a system that doesn't allow black people to succeed. You've seen firsthand how city schools waste opportunity. How do you waste an opportunity you were never given? Do your fucking research. City schools are underfunded and overcrowded. Schools are literally funded on neighborhood income. If you live in a poor neighborhood, you're going to go to a poor school with less opportunities. In Baltimore, schools literally closed because they couldn't afford heating in winter. Students had to wear winter jackets and blankets to class. How do you think that impacts your education? Opportunity, my ass.
A lot.
Even when black people do make something of themselves, it doesn't stop the racism. That white lady who called the police on Christian Cooper and lied he was threatening her life, he was a Harvard graduate. I know straight A students who have been profiled by the police. It's not that black people don't try. It's that some people feel like there's no point in trying at all. That made me sweat out my edges. Go somewhere else with that BS.
She better preach. She better preach to the crowd.
Slavery was abolished years ago. Racism doesn't exist. In Georgia, hate crimes are not illegal. So if someone murdered me for the color of my skin, they would not be charged with a hate crime. Racism still doesn't exist. Lynching just became a federal crime earlier this year. So black people could have been getting hung legally. Racism still doesn't exist. Sundown towns still exist to this day. Towns filled with segregation. Towns filled with murdering minorities. Racism still doesn't exist. White people with loaded guns were protesting in Michigan, yelling and spitting in cops' faces, and no arrests were made. They were in a large group without masks, protesting for haircuts and for the beaches to be open. George Floyd's protest started off peaceful, protesting for an innocent life, in a large crowd with masks on, and they were met with tear gas and rubber bullets. Racism still doesn't exist. Black people that were wrongfully accused of a crime, or that weren't the right person in the first place, or that were just minding their own business, got shot because they were seen as suspicious for the color of their skin, not even guilty of a crime. White mass shooters are taken into custody gently, given McDonald's, and actually make it to the courthouse for a fair trial.
Hi guys, so in today's episode of Why the Fuck Did I Never Learn That in School? We will be talking about Sally Hemings.
Why?
Now, if you don't know who she is, which is really likely because they
Racism
never
don't
taught this
exist.
in school, she was basically Thomas Jefferson's wife/slave. Now, if you did learn about her, you probably heard that Thomas Jefferson loved her and treated her like a wife, which is far from the truth.
Nope. I do not know who Sally Hemings is.
The education system is so biased and whitewashed, you literally can't trust anything unless you do your own research. Okay, so Sally Hemings was 14 and Thomas Jefferson was 44 when their relationship started. She bore at least 4 of his children that we know of, but it's most likely 6 to 8 children. His children were the only slaves he ever freed. He never freed his own wife. She was
44. I'm glad that I did not grow up in those times. Thank you.
freed by Thomas Jefferson's daughter after he died. Thomas Jefferson was not a good person. He was literally a rapist and a pedophile. He was 44 and he got with a 14-year-old. And yet, these are the men that the education system teaches us to praise. Anyways, if you guys want me to make more of these like informative videos, let me know.
Here we go again.
Wow.
I keep telling you, psychological warfare. And everybody keeps telling me no.
Yes.
Guess where Trump's next rally is going to be and what date? It's going to be on August 27th in Jacksonville, Florida. What's so specific about that date and that place? Here's a short video.
On August 27th, it is the anniversary. It is the brutal attack known as Axe Handle Saturday. According to the Florida Historical Society, in 1960, 200 white residents chased African Americans through the streets of downtown with baseball bats and axe handles following a sit-in.
So again, you pick a date and a place where racial atrocities happened. And it's a coincidence? Twice now? No, this is not a coincidence. Trump might not be smart enough to be picking these places and these dates, but somebody in his camp is. So let's find these tickets and troll him again.
Hey, real quick, I need to ask you some questions. Did you learn about the Tulsa race riots when you were in high school? You didn't? Well, a black man tripped and fell in an elevator. He grabbed the arm of a white woman on the way to the ground. A nearby white man heard her scream and called the cops, said the black man had raped her. So a mob of angry white people burned the richest black neighborhood in America to the ground and killed hundreds. Did you know that a majority of Confederate iconography was either built in the middle of the Jim Crow era or in the Civil Rights era? Pretty clear and direct response to black people having the audacity to think that they deserve equal rights in a nation conceived.
Yeah, I think I heard that.
Have you ever heard the name Hiram Rhodes Revels? He was the first person elected to the United States Senate that happened to be black. He was elected in 1870. Southern senators argued that because the 14th Amendment had only made him an American 2 years earlier, he hadn't been an American long enough to be in the Senate. You didn't know any of that? Well, then how can you claim taking down statues is erasing history? You never learned it in the first place.
Okay, so apparently if you use your back camera, this is what you look like to other people once you put it to your face. So I'm just going to show you guys what I look like according to other people.
I run it up, they busy running their mouth. I'm a real ass, rich ass bitch from the south. Yeah, bitch, I got you, man. Bitch from the south. Come catch 'em if you can.
If you don't like it here, then leave. What? That statement itself is fucking hysterical, being the fact that America belongs outright to three sets of people: the Hispanics, the African Americans, and the Native Americans. Being that you blatantly stole land from the Native Americans and the Hispanics when you took that little walk across the country because it was your God-given right. Remember the Alamo? Because I sure as hell fucking do. I also remember the fact that California and Texas were populated greatly by Hispanic people before you shot them all out. I also remember the fact that African Americans built this country on their backs free of charge. Not because of the kindness in their hearts, because of the whips on their backs. So now that I think about it, the only thing that white people truly own in this country is the fucking audacity. So, Stacy, Becky, and Caitlin, if you don't like how black and brown people want to be treated in their own country, then you can leave.
Yes.
I did not come here to speak, but after hearing what Karen here behind me said, I needed to speak up. She's upset because her officer husband is being cussed at and supposedly followed and spit on, but I just want to point out that people who are black have had to endure all of that and brutality at the hands of the people who are supposed to protect them for over 400 years, which is why we are here to protest in the first place. So I am sorry that in the last 10 days you have felt just a little bit uncomfy, but I hope that you can understand that you've now had a fraction of a taste of it. And if you've got any empathy in that little blue heart of yours, then I suggest that you start looking at this from the other side, the morally, legally, and ethically correct side. It is not a blue life, it is a fucking blue shirt. Another Karen earlier said if someone broke the law, then they should be arrested. Okay, so then let's arrest the police who said screw everything that they learned in their supposed max of 6 months of training, and let's arrest the police who turned...
So one time, me and a black friend of mine did work for my dad. It was a construction job, so we both got about $1,000 for the work we did. We both went at the same exact time to the same bank to cash our checks. There was no line, so I went to one teller and she went to the other. I gave the teller my check, my ID, and she gave me the money. Took like 2 minutes. However, I look over at my friend and there were like 5 bank tellers around her. So I walk over and she tells me, oh, well, they're just verifying the check. They're calling your dad's company, they're calling my bank to make sure everything's okay. So I look at one of the bank tellers and I say, you know, you didn't have to do that for me. Why do you have to do it for her? It's the same check from the same place. So the one bank teller looks at the other bank tellers and they all kind of get this look on their face and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll cash the check, no problem. They were being racist. They didn't believe that she earned that check and they were going to make it harder for her to get the money, even though they didn't make it hard for me. That is racism.
This is Ressie Taylor and I want to share her story. Back in 1944, she was leaving church and on her way home, she was kidnapped and gang raped by 6 white men. And despite the fact those monsters admitted to the rape to the authorities, they admitted it, that they did it. 2 grand juries found them not guilty, and there were no charges, there were no indictments. They walked free. She said, fuck that, you're not going to silence me, and she shared her story. The severe injustice in her case provided the organizational spark for the civil rights movement. So after World War I, the KKK made it their mission to make sure to keep uppity black people in their place in the segregation of the United States. And rape was only a crime if the victim was a white woman. And that's why you never saw people getting charged with murder if they lynched black people, because it wasn't considered a crime. White supremacists would rape black women to keep them in their place, but Racy was not having it.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
Pull your goddamn mask
matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
To who?
Black lives matter! To everyone, you piece of shit!
Yeah? How's that black one taste you was talking about?
What? You're such a fucking pervert! Yeah.
Today I want to talk
So sad. So sad and it's disgusting.
about a sensitive event that often gets erased from history books. So today I'm talking about Axe Handle Saturday. Axe Handle Saturday was a day on August 27th of 1960 when black youth in Jacksonville, Florida decided to peacefully protest segregation using sit-ins. While the black youth was peacefully protesting, white supremacists showed up and started to beat any black person they could find with baseball bats and axe handles. The Jacksonville police were slow to help out any of the black youth being attacked by white supremacists, though a black gang nearby joined in to protect the protesters and started fighting off the white supremacists. Dozens of black people were hurt because of the event. One thing that's very disturbing about this event, particularly to me, is the fact that it's very erased from history. It is not taught in Jacksonville, it's not taught in Florida, and you can't even find a Wikipedia page for it. There's barely any videos, and there's barely any photos from the event. The main photo is graphic, so I can't put it on TikTok, but this event should be remembered.
So some racist motherfucker decided to ask me, aren't you a spick? Why do you care about Black Lives Matter? First of all, I'm not a spick. I'm fucking Latino. Shut the fuck up. Second of all, because I'm Latino and I know my history, I know that my ancestors were also African slaves brought here. The only difference between black American ancestors and Latin American ancestors was a pit stop. They stopped in the colonies and then they came to Latin America. So, Latinos, Black Americans, they're our family. You talk about how much you love family, how much family means to you. Well, our family is in trouble. Our family needs our help. Necesitamos ir a salir a votar. Necesitamos salir a marchar, a protestar. Nuestra familia nos necesita. Si hablas tanto de que te gusta la familia, hay que ir a ayudar a nuestra familia. Our family needs our help. Black Lives Matter. And that includes us. Now go help. God.
Hurry, what he said. Alright, you guys. How'd that make you feel? Leave it down in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.